Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, check out the Potown store. You can get yourself a sweet 5% discount on your orders using the OmniPoke code. For today's video, we're looking at Mewtwo. It's the archetype that got second in the LAIC in Masters. It also won the Senior Division, so there's a lot to be said about Mewtwo. It's continuing to be one of the top contenders in the format, and it's made the tweaks necessary for it to still be a top contender. And we're going to be looking at those tweaks today. So, first of all, it is going to be based all around the perfection ability of Mewtwo and Mew. That's why you're seeing so many random one-offs of GX Pokemon. It's because Mewtwo and Mew can use them if they're on the bench or in the discard pile. So the sort of mini goal of this deck is to try and thin the deck of all of these Pokemon, so you have the option to attack with them if you have the necessary energy for them, making Mewtwo and Mew very versatile and giving it options against all sorts of attackers and decks in general, which is really, really useful. We do have this miraculous duo GX attack of our own for 2 Psychic and a Colorless. You can do 200, and if this has at least 1 extra energy attached to it, you get to heal damage from all of your Pokemon as well, so that's really amazing, a full heal effect. It's very rare that you'll use this, however, because we have other, like, more powerhouse GX attacks available to us, but it's something to bear in mind, and it's something you can do under Power Plant as well, which everyone seems to forget about, so yeah, something to keep a note of, I guess, is the best way to put it. For 2 Psych Energies, which isn't really easy to pull off because I'm only playing 2 Rainbows in this list, which is potentially greedy. But yeah, that's what we're rocking with right now. Alright, from there, let's talk about the sort of engine we're rocking. We've got 3 Stellar Wish Jirachis in here. Jirachi sort of is trying to help us get some extra consistency in those early turns, whilst at the same time making us less Dedenne reliant throughout the entire game. A previous issue, well, a current issue with Mewtwo is Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff just coming in and sweeping your board, taking one-shots on your guys, because old builds of Mewtwo would just play 4 Mewtwo and Mew and 4 Dedenne, and you Dedenne literally every single turn to get what you needed. Now, having Stellar Wish at our side means sometimes we don't have to go too overboard with our GXs, and hopefully we can stay at least out of range of Mega Lopuff for a good number of turns in the game. So the move towards Jirachi is more of a reaction to Mega Lopuff from opposing decks rather than anything else. Previously, you know, you could just sub out these Jirachis for like gears and bikes and stuff like that. But at the moment, because of the threat of Lopuff, we're just going to go for the 3 Jirachis in here. I'm also playing 3 Dedenne-GX, previously at a 4 count. Again, Lopuff comes in. We want to be less reliant on this card, so we're just going to play the 3 copies. Still, obviously, a great means of us discarding a bunch of Pokemon. If we can have Tag Calls and Cherish Balls available to us, we can accumulate a bunch of Pokemon and then throw them all away. Also, it gets energies in the discard pile for early Solgaleo attacks, and it just helps us push towards Welders and other supporters and such. So, yeah, Dedenne is still a amazing card, obviously. But do bear in mind that we want to use it a bit more sparingly than previously, so do bear that in mind. Also, we play Rainbow Energies now, so you actually can use Tingly Return GX, which does 50 in Paralyze, and it can get you out of spots, so don't forget Tingly Return is an option here. It can be a heal effect for a damaged Mewtwo. At the same time, it can maybe buy you a turn alongside a Reset Stamp to paralyze things and set things up, so Rainbow Energy actually opens the doors for both of these attacks, so bear that in mind. Let's look at all these crazy one-offs that we play from now on. Let's start off with the fire stuff. Obviously, we are Welder-based. We're playing a lot of fire energies, so let's start off with these Charizards, I guess. Charizard-GX coming in with that Flamethrower, enough to easily knock out non-GXs, and we have the Flare Blitz GX attack, which is the biggest, like, most threatening, damaging attack we have, I guess you could say. For 2 fire and 2 colorless, we do 300. Pretty simple, very good damage, and you can threaten this just by Weldering on turn 1 or turn 2, as long as you have manual attachments on those turns at the same time. So Mewtwo essentially is always threatening this GX attack, which makes it very dangerous. We have Magcargo-GX. Lava Flow does 50 plus 50 more times the amount of basic energy you discard from this Pokemon, which is obviously, again, very powerful. Can be a similar effect to that big Charizard-GX attack, but of course Lava Flow isn't a GX attack, so it's an additional way that we have good one-hit KO potential. Also, Burning Magma-GX can discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. Sometimes this can cheese Pidgeotto control players and a few other decks that get too greedy, trying to deal with you in late game situations, so something to bear in mind. We have Reshiram Charizard. Outrage is always an attack to bear in mind, because it's cheap and it can sometimes do a good chunk as long as we've got some damage on us, and it means that we can start committing energies to, you know, Mewtwo's on the bench and whatnot, while still, you know, finishing off something that we've hit previously or whatever else, so Outrage is still a decent attack to bear in mind. Flare Strike for 3 fight and colorless does 230, enough to deal with, you know, most basic and stage 1 regular GXs that aren't tag teams, so that's definitely relevant, especially because we have Great Catcher in the format now, so dealing with things like Dedenne is much more simple for us, so Flare Strike very reasonable there. And that Double Blaze GX attack can do a 200 out of nowhere on turn 1, potentially, thanks to Welder support. But if we do have 6 fire attached, we get to do 300 damage, and we also go through all effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So this can be a wall breaker, gets through Choice Helmets, gets through Keldio's Pure Heart ability, gets through all sorts of those pesky things. So Double Blaze is the same sort of damage as the Flare Blitz, but has that added bonus of getting through all effects, which is pretty sweet. We have another good damage-threatening style Pokemon in Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. Jumping Balloon doing 60 plus 60 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon GX and EX in play. So Jumping Balloon, again, is similar to the Magcargo in a lot of ways. If your opponent just has to put down too many GXs, if they're a GX-focused list, Jumping Balloon will just one-shot them, and it's very awesome. Good in mirror matches, good in all sorts of situations, so definitely something to bear in mind. And we do have the Puffy Smashers GX attack. We have to talk about all these attacks because they are options throughout every game you play, even if they are unlikely options. Your opponent's active is now asleep, and if this Pokemon has at least 4 extra energy attached to it, so 5 total, you do a 200 snipe to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So sometimes that can be decent. It's similar to a Naganadel style snipe, but it can be all colorless, which is sometimes decent. And if you can leave your opponent's active asleep, that can, you know, alongside Stamp and things, buy you a turn if coin flips are kind. So yeah, Mega Lopunny Jigglypuff has 2 attacks that we have the option of using. We also have the Psychic Energy attackers in here, the Naganadel doing that Venom Shot, a 170 damage snipe, usually trying to pick off the Dennes, of course. And we also have Espeon and Deoxys in here. Cross Division is the main one we look for here. We're able to put 10 counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like for a Psychic and 2 colorless. But if you have a Psychic and 5 colorless energies attached total, you get to do 20 damage counters. Obviously very good against any Pidgeotto-based engine. Also very good against like non-GXs in general. It can be just a huge swing in games. So SBDO, still an absolutely incredible card for this deck. From there we have one Greninja-GX, Miss Slash, similar to the Double Blaze for the full value, can go for effects of attack, so it helps us get through Keldios and a few other pesky attackers here and there, so the Greninja is a nice deal. We also have the Solgaleo in here for turbo striking, allowing us to get a zillion number of energy into play in one turn if everything goes well for us. Usually Solgaleo is one of the first things you'll look to get out of your deck to start discarding it, because his attack really just sets up a couple Mewtwo's, and once you've got 2 Mewtwo's rolling, you're ready for the entire game, so there you go. The final Pokemon that we have to talk about is 2 copies of Marshadow for resetting Hole. I think Arceus, Palkia, and Dialga is popular enough that I want to play 2 copies of this card, because you want to get rid of Celtic Swells a lot of the time so that you can put your own stadiums into play. Also, of course, this is a great answer to Power Plants, and having a Pokemon means of doing it can sometimes be a little bit more searchable. We actually don't have any Pokemon search for the Marshadow itself, but it's kind of one of those things you can set in play and just have to proof yourself through Reset Stamp plus Power Plant combos. You can always just pop your Marshadow whenever you want to, rather than like leave it in hand like regular stadium bumps. So yeah, this card is really decent for helping you deal with pesky stadiums in Swell and Power Plant and Shrine and all that sort of stuff, which is pretty sweet. Also, it has the Red Knuckles attack. You can do 10 and 60 more if your opponent's active as an Ultra Beast. It's usually not great, but it actually can pressurize the Baby Blounds deck as a non-GX, especially in those opening turns where they sit there using Elm and actually can't attack you. You can actually start pressurizing them with the Marshadow as a single prizer. That could be annoying for them. It's also good against anything that's using a Naganadel engine, especially with the weakness. You can actually knock out Nagas, so that's something to bear in mind as well. Onto the trainer cards, we play a bunch of 2-ofs and a bunch of 3-ofs in here. We have 2 Reset Stamp for disrupting our opponents, 2 Great Catchers for picking off things. Obviously, when you can do 300 damage out of nowhere, you want to be able to pick off your opponent's tag teams. And at the same time, you might want to just be gusting up things like Dedenne to keep up in a prize race. We then have 2 copies of Switch to help out the sort of mini Jirachi package that we have going on in here. Then we have 3 copies of the new Tag Call. It helps us get Lopuff, Reshizard, Mewtwo and Mew, which are some pretty good targets to find early on for sure. Obviously Mewtwo and Mew being the main one, so you can get attaching energies to it. At the same time, we are having a small tag team engine going on in here, 3 different 1-ofs that we want to have access to for different situations. So a very nice card in general, and just can extend our hand a little bit more. It grows the hand size for us to actually make discards a little bit less painful with things like Giant Hearth and some of these tag team supporters as well. So definitely something to bear in mind. We then play 3 copies of Acrobike. Acrobike just helps us dig a little bit deeper into the deck, gives us better odds of finding Welders, gives us extra potential discard synergy for some of these Pokemon that we have going on in here as well. So I like the extra push that Acrobike can give us, as well as for Cherish Ball, the bread and butter for getting us towards Dedenne, for just drawing more cards, and at the same time just getting towards any of these specific GXs so that we can throw them into the discard pile more often than not, which is pretty sweet as well. Onto the stadiums, we're playing 3 Giant Hearth. I'm playing no Viridian Forest because I'm just playing the double Marshadow and pure fire energies. I like the higher count of fire right now just because, again, Swell is a thing. Even though we do play double Martian, I want to have more physical fires around just so that I have Welder access as quickly as possible, because that's really what Mewtwo needs to be able to do to keep up with ADP. So I like the higher physical fire count and just relying on Hearth without any of this Viridian shenanigans going on at all. So let's talk about our supporters. We play 7 in total, and 3 of them are tag team based. Guzma Hala allows us to find a stadium card, as well as if we discard 2 cards. Obviously, discard energy is good for Mewtwo. You can grab yourself a tool and a special energy. Special energies that we play are Weak Guard to help out against Mirror and to help out against Malamar, and a few other random psychic attackers going on as well. Or we can go for the rainbow route, and it opens up the psychic energies and water energies for either Greninja or our psychic-based attackers, Naga and Espeon. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Obviously, we only play 1 copy of Escape Board and Stealthy Hood as well. So getting early access to Pivot, our Jirachi, can be fantastic. Or Stealthy Hooding up our Mewtwo so we don't just lose to the Shadow Box Mimikyu as well. That's something that we have to bear in mind. So the Guzma Hala making these like one-of outs become now, you know, we have 1, 2, 5 outs to find these things, and even like finding them off Stellar Wishes as well means that we have like really good access to these cards that are otherwise like seemingly one-ofs, which is pretty sweet. We have 1 Mallow Lana to give us an additional switching effect alongside the 1 copy of Switch that we play. But at the same time, you can again do some discarding and heal your guy. There's nothing more intimidating than a full health Mewtwo, especially when it has like 4 energies on it at least. So if you're able to like fully heal some chip damage, that can be really sweet for you. And obviously we also play the Jirachi engine, so Mallow Lana giving us extra Stellar Wishes can sometimes be a good option for us as well. And then we have 1 Cynthia and Caitlin. It can help us recover either Welder or Mallow Lana. Those are the 2 targets that you normally look for. It's rare that you'll have to use Guzma and Hala multiple times in a game, unless you're really digging for like a Giant Hearth for manual attachments or something. So yeah, the Cynthia Caitlin helps us get back cards, as well as giving us an extra draw 3, which is, you know, reasonable in general. But Welder is still the bread and butter here. We play a full 4 copies so that we can get energy acceleration onto Mewtwo to get us more acceleration, or just to get us into our attacks in general. So Welder still a core piece for the deck. We're playing 1 board for the Jirachi most often than not, but also for like pivoting in general, as well as 1 Stealthy Hood to put on our Mewtwo to protect us against Mimikyu and to protect us against Ninetales as well, especially because Ability Zard, of course, is going to be coming, you know, more popular, seeing as though it did just win the latest event. So yeah, the double Rainbow, the double Weak Guard, I've talked about their uses already, and the 9 Fire I've also mentioned as well. So there are some things you can play around with Mewtwo. First of all, the Acrobikes are something that you don't often see in like a Jirachi build, but I prefer its pushing potential just because the deck feels like you still need to find Welder a lot. But those are definitely spaces that you could wiggle around with. You could think about treasures, you could think about Pokecoms, you could think about putting in the 4th Jirachi, for example, which are all pretty reasonable things. If you just want to play 1 Marshadow, you can add in that Viridian and then weave in some basic water and psychic energy alongside the rainbows to increase your overall energy count, or at least, you know, go back down to 8 fire and have like the 1 psychic or the 1 water alongside this as well. That's something you could toy around with for sure. And what else are we looking at here? Nothing else that I think is that important. I think Latios-GX is the only like GX attacker that is kind of lacking, I guess you could say. I think this card has got a lot less valuable now that Great Catcher is just a card in the format. It feels like you want to be damaging people a lot more quickly. At the same time, though, Clear Vision GX, if you can discard this Latios turn 1, and if you Clear Vision GX with your Mewtwo against ADP, sometimes that can just be backbreaking for them and like remove their win condition out the gate. So yeah, Clear Vision's not a bad GX attack right now in the format. However, this is where our list is at. So I'm going to try and find this Mewtwo list, because I've been playing with all sorts of things recently. But yeah, we'll jump into the ladder and see how it goes. Right now, I think Mewtwo's in a decent spot, even though it did so well, even though, you know, Ability Zard kind of popped up. I think the archetype's still pretty reasonable against Ability Zard in general, as long as you don't get sort of blown back by Victini Prism all in one turn. You got to hope that Stamp helps you out, I guess. But we'll see how it goes. The recent updates with the deck have been pretty sweet. I was a fan of the Jirachi build in the top 10 list pre-LATAM, so I was on the right track with the list to begin with, which is pretty nice. We also get into a Jirachi start. We have a Escape Board straight away. We already have Mewtwo and Tag Call. A couple Tag Calls now, which is going to really improve our chances of finding some other pieces going on here. Looks like turn 1 we probably won't be able to go for a Welder. So I might just be Cynthia Caitlining here. I might want to get a Giant Hearth established as well. So I might use Guzma Hala. Just pulling out another energy, pulling out the hood just for discard fodder. And finding a half. Is that better than 3 random cards? Probably not, actually. I probably want to just dig as deep as I can for Welders. So we'll just grab these chaps, I think. Do I want the backup Mewtwo now? Yeah, I don't mind it. Alright. Let's discard the Reshizard. Okay, we get to Stellar Wish. Alright, there's a Welder for next turn, which seems good. So we're just going to pop a Weak Guard down. I don't mind putting this down either, just to play around opposing stamps. And we'll pass it there. Not the worst of starts. If Stellar Wish can get us towards Hearth or something next turn, it would be crazy. Looks like we're up against Blounds, probably. Oh, maybe not. They're playing Professor Oak's setup. Maybe Quagnag? Oh, it's Dark Box. Okay. They're going to grab a Dragon Naga out with the Ultra Space. It's going to poison our Jirachi. Oh my goodness, the worst draw in the deck. I was going to say, like, one really cool interaction you can have with Mewtwo is you can get a free Naga out. Literally, we just -1'd ourselves. That's so rough. Okay, let's shake that off and go for a Stellar Wish here. I'm looking for Stadium here for sure. Okay. No dice there, unfortunately. So I can, thanks to Rainbow, I can just Welder attach to this guy and do an attack and keep 2 energy here if I want to. So I think I'll just Welder the 1 fire to the naked Mewtwo. I don't think 3 energy on 1 really makes too much sense right now. So let's just go for the Outrage. We pick up another Mewtwo. Not ideal. I think we might be using some of these switches quite aggressively to try and find Cherish Ball over the next couple of turns. We see a Weavile GX come down from our opponents. We already know they have a Dragon Naga in their hand also. Because they manually evolved the Weavile, it might be hard for them to find enough energies to deal with us in one turn. Of course, they can't red and blue. But maybe they're just an old-fashioned build anyway with a heavy Naga line. We'll see what they're up to. They can grab another Nag. This is probably just some conversion fodder. Let's see what else they want to do here. There's another Oak setup. They're starting to develop their board. Let's see what they want to grab. Obviously they play Water Sneasels. Oh, they play Water and Dark Sneasels. Okay. So they're just going to grab more of their basics. Are they going to retreat into something? Yeah, they're just going to retreat into Sneasel. They have a manual attachment as well if they want to. Okay, they don't have energy in hand. We pick up Hood, which isn't great, so we're just going to start off with the switch into Jirachi here. Really, Cherish Ball is the ideal pickup here. Hearth is still fine. It's not a bad pickup for us. I can start throwing some more Pokemon into the bin. So I can throw away Greninja for the attack here, and I guess I'm just going to be manually attaching to the benched Mewtwo. I'm going to Hood the Mewtwo just to play around Stamp a bit better. Taking this knockout does open up Beast Ring, which is a little bit concerning, but I have a backup Mewtwo right now, so I'm not too concerned. Let's just go for the Miss Slash here. There's a Welder pickup, which could be sweet, especially if we get to keep the Hearth. Usually Dark Box decks play a lot of stadiums naturally though, so maybe that's not going to be happening. By the way, I'm wearing this thing because we have no heating in the house and it's really cold. So it's not a fashion statement, I'm just cold. I also have a blanket as well right now. So don't judge me. As they kick off with a charge up, they could red and blue the Poipole, of course, as well, if they have more of these. So there's potential for energy acceleration from all over the place this turn. Just having a quick look at the Weavile to see if it's in range of a Puffy Smashers, and it certainly is. They're coming in a Ninja Zoro. Do they have Dedenne here? It feels like their hand isn't ideal. Dark Box is still kind of bricky. Really didn't do all that well at the IC. Okay, they're grabbing another Dragon Naga. Just as fodder. Okay. 3 fresh cards for them. Another charge up. What else are we going to see here? Guzma Hala, so they will be bouncing Hearth, unfortunately for us. Do you reckon they play U-turn board? Oh, just Beast Energy, Ultra Space. Okay. was thinking that U-turn board could be like a cute one-of that they play. They're going to space out another Poipole. Charge up the bench. Guzma Hala getting that other one in the discard pile for them. Beast Energy to the Naganadel-GX. More fodder by the looks of things. Going for a poison play? It doesn't sound worth it. Just losing more energies. But okay. Ooh, that's a pretty good draw. I'm once again going to switch into this Jirachi. I think I'm going to start off with the Welder to this guy, the 4 energy Mewtwo. Because if I just Puffy Smashes the Weavile, what does he do? You know, what does he do? Am I going to change this hand? Don't really need to. That sounds like a good card to hold on to for next turn. There's number 5. And we'll just Puffy Smashes GX. It's surely going to put them in a horrible spot. We grab a couple Cherish Balls. No wonder we were missing off the Stellar Wishes. I was a bit lazy in prize checking this game. Just Dark Box things, you know. You can chill when it's Dark Box. Yeah, they just scoop. Okay, we had Great Catcher Flare Strike for game, so they had to disrupt our hand and do a lot of other things. But no matter what, they're probably having a slow turn anyways, because, you know, no Weavile. We'll get another game in. You can see just how many options this deck has straight out the gate, right? You just know. You're like, oh, this is good here. This is good in this spot. This is good right now. And sometimes it's things you never even thought were going to be relevant. The flexibility of Mewtwo is what's keeping it as a top deck. And we'll probably keep it as a top deck, at least until we see Sword and Shield broken stuff. Alright, Inferno Slab coming in. Let's see what he's got to play with. We'll kick off, hopefully. Never lucky. Well, they're having a think. Surely not. Yeah, okay. Jirachi looking good again. We're definitely going to need the help of Stellar Wish. Oh, we get the help of some mulligans. That's also appreciated. Let's start up against ADP. Oh, they start a Luke Metal. That could be really good for us. That can make them put 6 prizes into play. And it means we don't have to deal with Keldeo, like, ever. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, they're going to Cherish Ball for an ADP now. It also might mean that we should be putting down Reshizard in this matchup. Because we can just Flare Strike through the guy. There's a Swell. An attachment. And what else are we going to see here? Just a pass. So, no supporter. Alright, we're going to Still a Wish. Tag Call sounds pretty good. I think, again, Guzma Hala doesn't seem that strong, because we drew the Escape Board. Otherwise, like, you'd basically always do it. So I think it's just these. Knowing that Mallow Lana's in deck is good. Megalopuff is in deck. Oh, Reshizard isn't in deck. Okay. So I still got to go the old-fashioned way and use Mewtwo a bunch of times, which kind of sucks. Unless I find the guy later. We only have 3 Welders, one's in the prizes as well. Alright, first things first, we're going to discard the Charizard-GX. So I can threaten that ADP. And looks like we're just going to pass there. Looks like a big Stellar Wish next turn. Let's learn more from our opponent's deck as well. Okay, Water Energy Jirachi board. And they have Switch, okay, so they can get a free Stellar Wish. They must be looking for a supporter at this point, unless they were just holding everything last turn. Which could be the case. If they're holding a Water Energy Switch, I can definitely see holding it. Can see a Tag Call. That could be getting them rolling. Mm-hmm. They've got some bling in their deck. Not quite max rarity, but I appreciate the hustle. Oh, Misty Lorelei. Wow. Are they just getting that to get rid of it? Yes. They must be looking for Choice Helmet here as well, right? If they don't find Choice Helmet, they're in a lot of trouble. Or, like, they could have been in a lot of trouble as long as we find Welder. So, literally, we instantly win the game if we find Welder here. Like, we actually can't lose if we hit Welder. It's that simple. Hit Welder, win the game. Imagine. In a world where you hit Welder, oh, feels bad, man. Feels so bad, man. Well, let's get rid of some of these Pokemon, I guess. Ripperino. At the very least, I can Misslash this guy for some damage. The hand size is still pretty low. I could do a hopeful Giant Hearth here. Again, the hand size is quite low, so it's kind of like a decent hope. Can also put this down pretty happily, I think. And we'll just Misslash. So obviously we don't want to see a Mallow Lana here. Because our hand really does suck. I'm going to try and Stellar Wish for it. Or at least for something. Tag Call. They're going to go ahead and use that Tag Call. They're going to grab Mallow Lana as well as Cynthia Caitlin. We kind of are in top deck mode. We're looking for Cherish, or we're looking for Welder. Switches are good draws as well. Mallow Lana's a great draw. Tag Calls are good draws. Just going to suffer the ultimate ray here. They're going to Cynthia Caitlin again. And get back there, Misty Lorelei. Okay, no stadium at least is something, but yeah, we're really not doing great here. Really needing a top deck to help us out. Keldeo getting powered up. Tag Call's a very good draw. Tag Call gets us Misty Laurel. Sorry, it gets us Mallow Lana, and it gets us a Mewtwo that I could power up with Turbo Strike. I could alternatively get 6, 12, 18. So if I heal up to 200, heal up to 200 and just get low puff. Okay, that sounds better. 6, 12, 18. 24 we're at. Get some more fires. Don't need both of these stamps. We're probably going to be the one getting stamped because of how we're playing. Switch isn't bad. Let's just use our balloon. So we're probably getting put down to a low hand size here. Probably low hand size just and Keldeo attack. But we would be a great catcher away from game with our GX attack on this guy, right? Getting the Reshiram from prizes is also very good. So let's see if they can stamp us first of all. They do find a Swell. Let's see. No stamp, no glory. It's another ADP. Great catcher to maybe, I don't know, they saw us take switch off the Stello-ish. Okay, they have Cynthia as well. Let's see that stamp real quick. There it is. Well, as far as stamps go, I mean, we hadn't used any Dedenne or any Cherish Balls, so yeah. Pretty decent acrobike as well. Let's steady change it up. There's the great catcher. We have 300 in the discard pile. So, although we didn't win immediately earlier on, the outcome was still the same. Where is it? Where's the attack? Did I miss it? Where's the attack? Pokemon, why? Pokemon's the worst game. Why, Pokemon? I have the requirement. So I think I gotta hit a welder just so I can beat TCG messing me up. 6/12/1824, so I can't do that. Why are he angry reacting me? I can't win, dude. Just concede. Okay, just concede. Just this is the win con at this point. Bro, you know it's over. This is annoying. Pokemon, might want to fix your game. I'm not blind, right, guys? Well, okay. We'll give ourselves a heartbreak react. Wait, why'd I grab this? I should have grabbed a Dedenne, right? Oh, I'm so dumb. Well, we've won the game already. It's fine. Officially, we've won. Alright. Turns out he's got absolutely nothing anyways. Pokemon. Small indie company, by the way. Let's get another game in. I've had that problem with Flare Blitz before. Flare Blitz GX before. The coding's weird. For some reason it didn't recognize 3 fire energy and a rainbow as being 2 fire and 2 colorless. So thanks for that game. Oh well, we got our dub. You can see how it can have a very strong time against ADP, especially the slower builds. I think faster builds of ADP have a decent chance, but slow builds just lose, I think, a lot of the time. Obviously, them not finding Choice Helmet just meant that it was pretty easy for us to beat them. Like, on turn 1 we could have beat them, on turn 2 we could have beat them. And then, like, we ended up beating them on, like, turn 6 or something. And that was without using a Welder the whole game, by the way. More Dark Box? What's happened to this ladder? People tired of the format already? Making an Umbreon Darkrai, getting energy down. Sneasel comes in. Ultra Space. There's a really cool interaction with Ultra Space where you can get yourself a free Naganadel-GX as long as you don't top deck it for turn. Very good. And don't prize it, of course. Of course. We've done well at starting Jirachi, by the way. Alright. Escape Board is here. All of our welds are here. Mallow Lana is in our hand. Okay. Let's get calling up the lads. Is that everyone? I think I'll get rid of the Charizard first. Just in case I want to do any outrage plays. I'll try and Stellar Wish towards Welder before anything else. Very good. Welder's still pretty broken. I don't mind firing off this bike either. It's decent value. You'd never mind having fire in the discard pile too much. Switch means I can attack turn 1. I could do a jumping balloon. This stops me playing trainers, right? Yeah. So I think Jumping Balloon is pretty solid, right? I can just Jumping Balloon this turn into Flare Strike next turn. They're gonna get smacked for 100 thanks to resistance. But we're basically pressurizing them to find red and blue this turn to do much. Black Lance is a little intimidating, but not too big of a threat. Cynthia is not red and blue, which is obviously good news. If they Black Lance, they'll be losing a lot of energies all at once. This is if they charge up, find a Weavile and attach for turn. But the hand size is pretty low at this point. They might just have to Dark Moon GX here to try and slow us down, but yeah, they're just going to forego the GX attack. I think that's actually pretty smart. So I can get another fire in the discard pile, which sounds fine. Do I want to just Cynthia Caitlin back? I don't need any tool for any reason, right? It's only for Jirachi pivoting. I think I'll keep the Guzma Hala in hand, though, and just get rid of the stamp here. Getting a Welder back in hand sounds very good. I don't mind plonking the Weak Guard on. Playing around our opponent's stamps, I might want to put down this on the Mewtwo. We'd be at 6, 12, 18, 24. So his Lopuff could kill our Lopuff, which is the only fear of us putting down a Mewtwo. They could well be playing Lopuff, of course. Is that the only way I really lose? If I just let a Lopuff go haywire? What am I afraid of next turn? Next turn I could be wrecked by random B-string shenanigans, but the hand is so low. I think we're just gonna Flare Strike here. If they do get a crazy board state of like Weavile, they probably need Solgaleo to draw a bunch of cards anyways, so I could just Welder attach and Puffy Smashes. Oh, sorry, I could just start jumping ballooning if their board starts actually getting good. There's the first GX hitting the board. Tag Call as well. This could get them red and blue. Get them to Solgaleo. Or to Darkrai. Can they get to 6 energy this turn? Maybe. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, so they can't go. They can't get the full Dark Moon elf. They're 1 energy shy of getting a full Dark Moon, which is good. Let's see a Pokecom. Throwing away a Solgaleo. For a Guzzlord, okay. They're just going to Brave Buddies for 120. Okay, so I have a few options. I think again, Puffy smashing the Weavile sounds pretty strong. A little bit weaker this time round because they have a Sneasel on board. Getting more energies into play sounds good. Taking a knockout this turn sounds good. Like, I could fully heal with Mallow Lana and just pay retreat out of Lopuff, because it only has a 1 retreat cost. I think that's fine. Keep the rainbow around, I guess. Just Flare Strike. It takes energies off the board again. So if they go this turn and get red and blue, charge up is 6 with attachment, but they'd still have to pay retreat to get a Dark Moon off. They're comming in a Solgaleo, which is curious because I think that's what they'd probably want to use, but they're going to grab a Dedenne. They can charge up. Let's see if they get red-blue plus switching card plus turn attachment. Well, there's Tag Call, that's step 1. They'll be able to draw more cards as well because they'll get the Solgaleo back out. Oh, they have no more red and blues. 2 down. None left in deck. Okay, looks like we're pretty okay then. Dark Moon won't completely wreck us. They're going to retreat. Super Scoop Up. Okay, more Scoop Ups. This one picks up their Dedenne. They can Shadow Connect. And they're going to go for a Black Lance. We can just go ahead and grab Charizard. We can just Guzma Hala it into the discard pile. And we'll see if the GX attack wants to work this time. I'll attach a 4th energy card. Actually, for science, let's see if it works with this energy. Yes, so it likes Weak Guard. It was confused by Rainbow Energy last game. Interesting. It was confused. But oh well. Alright, so sweet for Mewtwo. I guess I'll get one more game in, because we're playing Dark Box a couple times, and we don't need confirmation that Dark Box isn't good. There's been some like potentially hairy moments at times, to be fair, with the deck. We've not been able to Solgaleo as much as I would normally like. That is one sort of thing with having tag calls over comms. You find Solgaleo slower. So there are some teething issues with this sort of build compared to the old builds. It obviously feels slower because you're not happy to Dedenne every single turn of your life. This looks like a slow hand. We're up against Mally as well, which is a big yikes. Mally can be one of the more difficult matchups if you can't Welder and do shenanigans against them early. Oh, they're playing Teenachomp. Got to bear that in mind. We play rainbows and stuff, and we don't want to fall prey to Teenachomp detonating us. They're gonna get a couple Inkays down. They can switch into a second Stellar Wish now. Guess they're hoping for a supporter. More treasures. Okay. Acrobike, save us. Not saved. Yes, that's that. We could obviously lose this turn. Giratina's in the discard pile. They find enough energies to bin, enough Malamars. We're just dead. They find the Lily a turn late. Still a turn to the good for them, though. Let's see if they can start discarding any Psychic Energies now. There you go. More wishes means probably we have a turn to be alive. Adventure Bag. Broken list. They can go ahead and grab some spell tag shenanigans and another board. And they can recharge, and then it's probably over to us. Well, I don't lose on board, so I guess I'll just attach. He can miss. It's Mally. They can always miss. Ah, well played. Let's tell him he's got a good deck, because Malamar's the best deck in format. Alright, I guess that's all I have time for. Realistically, only having 2 weak guard energies means that your Malamar matchup has got worse, I would say. I think going away from a turbo build makes your matchup worse, because you can't just... It's a way bigger high roll to get across division before they get set up. The Mallow Lana and the Cynthia Caitlin probably should balance out the matchup, though. Like, as long as you just have the Mewtwo with the weak, like 1 weak guard attached and your Mallow Lana healing, you should probably be fine against them. But our opponent was playing Teenachomp anyway, so they probably had more push potential against us. But yeah, that's Mewtwo. Let me know what you think about the build. Let me know what you're doing with these 3 floating Acrobike spaces. Are they different ball search cards? Are they different supporters? We didn't really see the Marshadow come into effect too much. We were against a couple swells, but we never found the reset hole. So maybe if you're having the high account, you've got to complement it with treasures instead. So yeah, there's a few tweaks I would still think about making to this list. But overall, yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you did enjoy. And I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.